On the Sunrise, with us now on the Sunrise Morning Show is Aram Hamparian. He's executive director of the Armenian National Committee of America and an advisor to In Defense of Christians. Aram, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you for joining us. You know, Pope Francis on Sunday spoke about clashes that have been escalating between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Can you basically give us an overview of what's been happening?
Sure. Armenia, the first Christian nation in 301 AD, still, on the frontiers of freedom in the Caucasus region just south of Russia and east of Turkey, is under attack, even as we speak, by Azerbaijan, which is an oil-rich dictatorship just to the west of Armenia. Sadly, more than 100 people have been killed on both sides, and the fighting is going into its third day today, and we're very troubled that this could spin out of control and become a regional war amid this pandemic, and even draw in other big powers and just become a global disaster.
Well, why are they fighting?
Well, during the Soviet era, Joe Stalin handed over a piece of Armenia to Azerbaijan, thinking that he would somehow set the two countries against each other. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the Armenians there wanted to return to Armenia, as you might expect. And Azerbaijan has resisted that. They want to sort of maintain that Stalinist or colonial hold on that piece of territory, which is populated by Christian Armenians. So they just simply are just making this very ambitious grab for historically Armenian territory, and they're doing so using like heavy artillery and drone attacks and rockets, and it's really terrible. It's really, really terrible.
And how are Christians affected by this conflict?
Oh, my Lord. Well, Armenia is a nation on the frontier of faith. Literally, it has been for centuries. The Armenians were first converted by the apostles Thaddeus and Bartholomew. They became officially a Christian nation in 301 AD through the ministry of St. Gregory the Illuminator, one of our great Armenian saints. And we've tried to maintain a presence there. We've built churches and monasteries, and there's just beautiful holy sites across the landscape there. But if Azerbaijan succeeds in this aggression, they'll do to the Armenian sort of Christian heritage there what the Turks did in all of Western Armenia, which is just wipe tear down the churches, tear down the cemeteries, and just erase not just the Armenians, but even the memory of the Christian Armenians. You
mentioned Turkey. Are they involved in this?
Sadly, yes. Turkey is giving full support to Azerbaijan. They're providing arms and fighters, including some of the folks that their proxy, I would say, militants that they had deployed across the Middle East and Syria and Iraq and elsewhere. They're now sending them as mercenaries to fight for Azerbaijan, and they're trying to rile up people based on sort of ethnic and religious ties.
Well, I know that this has been a thing for at least since the summer, because Pope Francis brought it up in one of his public addresses, I think back in July. But why now? Why is this happening right now?
It's unclear. It might be tied to Azerbaijan and their domestic situation. The president there, he's a dictator, essentially. His family has run the country for almost all of the past half century. It's remarkable. His father was a retired KGB general and gave the job to his son, who's the current president, who made his own wife the vice president. So I think that they're facing some turmoil back home, and they just want a distraction. So they figure they'll come after the Armenians. But in terms of Pope Francis, he has been such a friend of the Armenian people, and building strong ties to the Armenian church. I mean, remarkable. From his days in Argentina, he was always very close to our community. He's spoken very forcefully against the Armenian genocide, and at every step of the way, he's been a great and visionary leader.
And so I'm sure that you appreciated his words this past weekend.
Absolutely. No, he is a voice of moral clarity in the world, much needed.
What are you hoping can happen at a diplomatic level to de-escalate the situation?
Well, we'd like to see Secretary Pompeo become personally involved, talk to both sides, and underscore the importance of ceasing all hostility. There's also, unfortunately, a U.S. military aid package that goes to Azerbaijan. It's more than $120 million. That has to stop. That has to be put on the table right away. And it's one thing for Azerbaijan to attack Christian Armenians. It's another thing for them to do so, with the support of the American taxpayer. And that's unacceptable to me as an Armenian, but also as an American.
Really? So Azerbaijan is getting military aid from the United States right now. I mean, what are the chances that continues?
Well, we're working extremely hard in Congress to suspend that aid and to zero it out. The sad reality is that the geopolitics of the situation is such that Azerbaijan has oil. The Armenians have deep cultural connections to the West through faith, through democracy, through just a commitment to sort of a shared set of values. Azerbaijan has oil, and that just gives them the raw leverage that so often prevails in this world. So we're working really hard in Congress to cut that aid package, and that's going to be one of our top priorities in the coming days.
What would you encourage listeners to do in terms of perhaps contacting their lawmakers?
Well, thank you so much. That we have a very, very simple action alert. It's at anca.org/alert. And what people can do is they could send, with just one click of the button, a note to both presidential candidates, their U.S. senators, and also the U.S. representative, promoting a peaceful outcome here, trying to get the fighting stopped. So any of your listeners who can visit anca.org/alert, we would be deeply, deeply grateful.
And Aram, just finally, can you tell us about the partnership that you have with In Defense of Christians and what IDC has been saying about the situation?
Okay. I cannot speak highly enough about In Defense of Christians. I am a great admirer of Tufik Baklini, Stephen Howard, Sarah, and the rest of the team. I mean, they have been partners throughout, ever since they were created, and they were, and I've said this many times, they are America's answer to a century of indifference to the plight of Christians abroad. They're a very, very needed organization. They do great work. They helped us. They partnered with us to have America recognize the Armenian genocide through 2 acts of Congress, and they have been with us every step of the way on Nagorno-Karabakh. They see in this, there's many dimensions, but they see a very central point here is that this is an ancient Christian presence, one of the last in that part of the world. They're under attack and abandoned by their co-religionists, abandoned by the rest of the world. This will be the end. And 2,000 years of Christian heritage will disappear in a matter of weeks. The last trip I took before the pandemic was actually to Nagorno-Karabakh, and I had the chance to pray for my friends and my family in a monastery that was first established in the 1st century by a student of the Apostle Thaddeus, Dadi. It's called Dadi Monk. So this is a cradle of Christianity, and it's in danger. So we look to all of our friends and allies, and In Defense of Christians is at the very, very top of the list. We're deeply, deeply grateful for their leadership. We've
been talking to Aram Hamparian. He's Executive Director of the Armenian National Committee of America. And Aram, remind us again where listeners can get more information about your organization.
Thank you so much. ANCA, Alpha, Nancy, Charlie, Alpha.org/alert.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll put up a link on our Facebook page for listeners that want to learn more. Aram, thank you so much for your time, and we're praying for you all.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.